Over the past few days, Balochistan has once again been at the center of Pakistan's longest running internal conflict. At least 216 militants, 36 civilians, and 22 security personnel have been killed in a military operation launched after a series of coordinated terror attacks across the province. Pakistan's military says it has quote-unquote successfully concluded the operation codenamed Rad-ul-Fitna 1. According to the Inter-Services Public Relations or ISPR, the operation began on January 26th following what it called credible and verified intelligence about militant hideouts. Initial operations were carried out in Panjpur and on the outskirts of Harnai district. The army says 41 militants were killed in the first phase. Subsequent clearance operations followed across multiple locations. The military claims that in total 216 militants were eliminated, significantly degrading what it describes as terrorist leaderships and command structures. But the cost has been high. Among the dead are 36 civilians, including women and children, and 22 members of Pakistan's security forces. In its statement, the army alleged that Indian-sponsored terrorists were behind attempts to destabilize the province. India has categorically rejected these claims, calling them baseless and accusing Islamabad of deflecting attention from its own internal failures. India called on Pakistan to address long-standing demands of Baloch rebels. Pakistan's National Assembly adopted a resolution on February 3rd urging an aggressive national response against what it described as external sponsors of military and their internal facilitators. What is unfolding in Balochistan is not a sudden escalation, it is the most serious challenge to Pakistan's authority in the province in decades. And it did not begin in 2026, it began in 1948. In 1947, India gained independence and the state of Pakistan was formed. The Khanate of Kalat, covering much of present-day Balochistan, became independent. But that independence lasted only months. In March 1948, Kalat acceded to Pakistan under intense political and military pressure. For Pakistan, this was nation-building. For Baloch nationalists, it was forced annexation. That disagreement was never resolved and it hardened into repeated cycles of rebellion in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and again from the early 2000s. This is why Baloch militant groups use the word occupation. They are referencing a history they believe remains unsettled. Balochistan is Pakistan's most resource-rich province. It has vast copper and gold reserves, including the Reko mine, a planned mining operation with some of the largest copper and gold reserves in the world. Balochistan has supplied natural gas to Pakistan for decades, and it hosts Gwadar, the port central to China's belt and road ambitions. Yet, nearly 70% of its population lives in multidimensional poverty. Unemployment is estimated at 30 to 35%. Human development indicators remain the lowest in the country. Large projects, especially under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor or CPEC, come with heavy security deployments. This contradiction lies at the heart of the conflict. This gap has become fertile ground for militancy. What has changed is not just the violence, but its organization. Groups like the Balochistan Liberation Army or BLA now operate as coordinated media-savvy networks. Operations are announced, claims are released quickly, videos are curated. The objective is no longer just damage, it is visibility and control. The evolution was evident in Operation Herof, Balochi for Blackstorm. The first phase began in August 2024, the second far more intense phase unfolding in January 2026. For nearly 40 hours, coordinated attacks hit up to 14 districts, including Quetta, Gwadar, Kalat and Panjgur. One of the most symbolic attacks involved a female suicide bomber targeting an intelligence facility in Noshki. When militants can disrupt multiple districts simultaneously, strike intelligence installations, and operate near billion-dollar projects, the message is unmistakable. Control is contested. Balochistan is not just Pakistan's internal problem. It sits at the crossroads of regional geopolitics, global supply chains, and energy corridors. For nearly 8 decades, Islamabad has treated the province primarily as a security challenge. That approach has contained uprisings before, but it has not resolved the conflict. Operation Herov is not just an armed campaign, it is the result of unresolved history, economic exclusion, and political failure. And unless those foundations are addressed, this conflict is likely to continue. That's it for today's video. If you have any feedback or suggestions, write to us at videos@thehindu.co.in. Thanks for watching.